Sappho and Her Sister. Hang on one second. Technical difficulties.
Also, new setup today. We're working shit out. We're trying to figure out what's gonna work for us the best. As much as I liked the set deck that we had before, this might be a little more practical, so it's a work in progress. We're just getting this thing rolling, so
Yes.
we'll get our stride.
Alright, so what are we doing today, Heather?
We are doing Am I the Asshole?
Oh, yeah.
Very excited for this one. I'm full of opinions.
Alright, so are we doing... Yeah.
We'll take turns.
Sounds great. Okay, let me actually go to the ones that I have saved first, and then we'll go through ones that are kind of newer.
Okay.
Let me see. Alright. I got a bunch. Okay. So I'll go first. We ready?
Yeah.
Alright. So the first one is... Am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't care that he might have a degenerative disease? This was from 7 days ago.
From the title alone, it doesn't sound too good for LP, but we'll see.
We'll see. There is an update, so we should be okay.
Ooh.
Alright. So, am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't care that he might have a degenerative disease? My husband, 35, has been complaining about the muscles in one of his arms twitching for a week, and he's convinced he has ALS. He came home from work today and said his mouth was salivating more than normal, and informed me that is a symptom of ALS. I don't know if anybody, side note, remembers this, but the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh my god, that was so cringe.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain went on a side note. When he first told me he was concerned, my immediate reaction was obviously fear and concern, so I asked him if he would please call a doctor the next day. He jumped down my throat for not having any sympathy, so I shut up and walked away. He has a history of complaining about his health and not doing anything about it. Sounds like me.
Don't be that person.
Not like
That's
that.
how you end up on Am I the Asshole?
Very true. He complained about growing pain for the first 10 years of our relationship, and I got sick of hearing about it, so every time he complained, I would ask if he had called the doctor yet. The answer was always no. We were on a hiking trip 3 years ago, and when we got back to the cabin, he was laying on the sofa and said he felt a bulge in his groin. I immediately knew it was a hernia.
Normal.
No.
I'm joking.
I immediately knew it was a hernia and told him to make an appointment ASAP. It took withholding sex before he would finally go to a doctor where he was diagnosed with a massive bilateral hernias.
I already don't like this guy.
Me too. So yeah, my sympathy for his health complaints is gone. I feel like he should seek the advice and guidance of a professional if he thinks something is very wrong, because I'm as far from being in the medical field as one can get. I've tried making his appointments for him in the past, but he either just won't go or would cancel them.
What a dick.
Back to the ALS concern. Tonight when he got home and informed me about his watery mouth, I asked him if he called our healthcare provider today. He said no. I calmly asked him why not, and he said I was concerned that he thought he had a serious degenerative disease, but wouldn't do anything about it. An argument ensued, and he called me a see you next Tuesday.
Whoa.
For not having any sympathy for his ailments. I told him I really don't care if he thought he had a serious disease. What I do care about is if he has this serious disease, knowing that we will tackle it once there's a diagnosis. I'm not remotely interested in coddling his hypochondria. So, am I the asshole for telling my husband
No,
I don't
absolutely
care?
not.
I didn't even finish my sentence. Am I the asshole for telling my husband I don't care he might have a degenerative disease because he won't seek medical help? Thoughts, Heather?
This makes me so frustrated. This guy's an asshole. I know it's like stereotypical when doing Am I the Asshole to be like, oh, dump his ass, but like, think about what he's doing here. He's like, oh, I think there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And like, forcing her to be concerned about him, but then not doing anything about it. If he was really, really, really fucking concerned, genuinely, he would go to a fucking doctor, like a normal ass human. Right. If there was like a reason why, like maybe he had trauma with doctors or something, I would understand that, but OP has said nothing about that.
Yeah.
And he's just being a dick, and he just pressed on her last nerve.
Yeah.
Also, there was one line that got to me.
Well, I'm gonna do the updates after.
Yeah, but in the argument part, when he was saying that, oh, you don't care about it, it's like, no, she definitely cares. She's just fed up with your bullshit. Like, grow the fuck up.
Yeah. I do not think she's the asshole either. I think if you're an adult and you cough more than 10 times in a span of like, I don't know, like a normal amount, like maybe a week or so, you should probably go get it checked out. Like,
I cough more than 10 times a week.
Well, yeah, but like if something that is concerning lasts more than a few days or a week, then go get it checked out.
100%.
Like, there are times where, for example, I thought I was having a heart attack, but I just had heartburn because I had never had heartburn before. So, but had I not went to the ER because I was like, oh, something's like just doesn't feel right, I should probably go get it checked out. Like, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm completely with her. Like, you know, I don't care if it's the thought, what I do care is if it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm the exact same way. Like, I'd rather rule it out to something stupid than to be like, oh yeah, you have like cancer that could have been stopped 3 years ago because you didn't come in.
Yeah, like something like that. That's the track this guy's heading.
Exactly.
And I've had to encourage my boyfriend to do certain things that are good for him, but he'll acknowledge that, like, yeah, you're right, I really should do this. I've been putting it off. And, like, gently push him into it, but he does it because he knows it's important.
Right,
and exactly. It's not because I'm forcing him, I'm not withholding sex or anything. It's because he knows it's important, and it's something that he cares about.
Exactly. So,
because he's a good human.
Ready for updates?
Yes.
Okay. He just called to tell me he was leaving the doctor's office.
Good.
He called this morning, and they, surprise, had an appointment. A doc thinks it's a post-COVID symptom, but is running a complete Tylenol just in case. He's getting blood drawn tomorrow. I do think he needs to seek help. I can't talk today. I do think he needs to seek therapy for medical and maybe generalized anxiety because this is such a pattern and it shouldn't get to this point before he's willing to seek help.
Oh, yeah. And see, that's what happens when you go to the doctor. Except in certain cases, because some doctors are jackasses that don't take you seriously. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, if you tell them, hey, I've been having a problem and I might have a serious health concern, they'll look into it.
Yeah.
They'll try and figure out what it is. And it might be something different that's totally normal.
I agree.
I hate this guy.
The Reddit dubbed this girl not the asshole. So we're gonna close this one out and move on to the next one.
My turn, I get to pick one.
Okay. So anything from here?
Concert.
Well, good, that's the next
I saw the word concert and I'm like, that's my jam.
Alright.
Okay. This is going to press on very, very specific pet peeves of mine, so, oh boy.
I know it's a big laptop, so get comfortable.
Am I the asshole for asking the lady sitting next to me at a concert to stop knitting? I went to a concert tonight at a seated venue to see a folk singer. The music is relatively tame/quiet and fairly emotional. In my opinion, seeing this artist is a pretty immersive music experience, at least for me. I was really excited to see this particular show at a seated theater where it's easier to just focus on the music. I'd venture a guess that most of the people who'd go to this type of show are going because they're emotionally invested in this person's music. Mm-hmm. The show starts and I notice a woman sitting directly next to me is knitting. Odd, I thought, but okay. But as the show went on, I kept finding myself so distracted by this knitting I must have tried for a solid 30 minutes to ignore it. But the constant motion of my peripheral vision and the quiet clicking of the needles kept stealing my attention away from the show. After a while, I felt like I couldn't focus on the show at all, and all I could think about was whether I should try to politely say something. The woman was with a partner, and I noticed on their other side there were 2 to 3 open seats. So I finally worked up the courage to politely say something. I thought the best and least disruptive way to do that was to write a note on my phone and show it to her, so that's what I did. I've done that before, but to my own mother. The note said this is... The note said this is...
Sorry, Dawn.
She's not gonna watch it.
Proceed.
She better not. The note said, this is a direct copy and paste. I'm so sorry to ask, and I know this is probably ridiculous, but the knitting is distracting me from enjoying the show. Would you mind either stopping or moving one seat over? Again, I'm sorry. Seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, pretty valid.
I don't know. I assumed anyone who knitted in public, especially someone at this kind of very chill show, was probably a generally chill human. So I was not expecting the kind of negative reaction that followed. This woman gave me the nastiest look, let out an angry sigh, threw her hands up, dramatically stuffed her knitting stuff into her bag, huffed and puffed to her partner, and then got up and then completely left the show. I was so baffled by how angry she got. I wish that would happen more often, honestly. I was so baffled by how angry she got, especially since I tried really hard to phrase this as politely as I could. I even considered that maybe there are reasons beyond my understanding why someone might not be able to sit still during a show and might need to keep their hands busy. Neurodivergence, some sort of recovery, some other reason. So I really tried to avoid speaking up out of sensitivity, and again, that's why I included the suggestion that maybe she could just slide over instead of stopping completely.
This is an am I the asshole that's you.
Yes,
that's why I picked it. In a nutshell.
That's why I picked it. I realized that knitting is definitely not the most disruptive thing a person could do, and I couldn't tell if me asking her to stop was unreasonable, and maybe I should have just sucked it up. But I thought I was polite about it, and I'm still just really shocked at how mad she got at me, and even more shocked that she completely left the show halfway through the set. So, am I the asshole for asking her to stop knitting or move one seat over?
No, you're not the asshole.
Also, there's one other thing. It's just more details. I think the use of the word concert is misleading people here, and people might think concert equals loud environment. This was a fairly quiet folk show at a theater, as opposed to a rock group or a pop concert at an arena. The room was dead silent outside of the performance itself. The set included some full band songs, some solo acoustic, and some that were just vocals and fiddle and guitar. The needles did make a clicking sound, probably equivalent to someone typing on their phone with long nails. Ooh, that's a bet, so.
Okay, yeah.
You can go first, since I went first this time.
I W not the asshole, just for the simple fact of, like, it's not cool to, like, if you're gonna go somewhere and do something.
Somewhere where you pay to be there.
Yeah, where other people also pay to be there to enjoy themselves for a very specific thing. Maybe just, like, if you want to knit only at certain times, like when it's quiet.
Intermission before the show.
Exactly. That's something completely different. Or, like, get a little fidget cube or something like that.
One that doesn't make noise.
Exactly. So, like, it's... And in my head, I was like, why is she knitting at, like, a concert, like a traditional concert? So I like that she edited that. But it's still, like... If it's distracting for one person, it's got to be distracting for other people too, and annoying for other people. They probably just didn't say anything. Me, I'm a very patient person, so I probably wouldn't have said anything either. But I know you definitely would do exactly this to the fucking T.
I'm holding it all back. First of all, we need to do an entire episode of just concert stories because I have so many.
Yeah.
I have encountered many annoying people because I go to a lot of concerts. It's like one of my favorite things because music is like half of my personality.
Pretty much.
And it is really fucking annoying. There's nothing more irritating than trying to enjoy a show and then just your attention constantly being pulled over to someone being, like, obnoxious. Like, I went to see... The closest thing that I can think of as an example was when I went to see Culture Club, and it was a phenomenal show. But this one fellow that was relatively close, like in my peripheral vision, must have been just the biggest Culture Club fan in the world. And, again, great taste, but he was... not just dancing, but just flailing so hard, air guitaring, like, to the point where it was so obnoxious.
Oh my god.
And I was so overwhelmed.
The air guitar is killing me right now.
And then we were, like, in the front, which we never get front row for stuff, but Somehow my mom managed it. We were in the front, so we were like standing up like by like the barricade, but we had actual seats. And for some reason, while I was standing up at the barricade, this one lady decided that it would be a good idea and like totally polite and normal to just like sit in my seat. And it's like, excuse me, ma'am, we didn't pay for a front row seat.
Yeah,
Go the fuck away. And I wanted to say something so bad, but it's a concert. It's a loud environment, and you can't like say anything. So I just like, I was just having a meltdown internally, and I just like wrote a note down on my phone to like show my mom, and I was like, I'm dying over here.
Oh my god.
But that was earlier in the night. That was the first time that I saw Howard Jones, and he is amazing. So worth it.
There you go.
But yeah, it is a lot to deal with, and I'm terrified of conflict, so props to this human for saying something about it. You said it in a very, very, very polite way.
Absolutely.
And this person is probably just a Karen, because the average person seeing something phrased like that would be like, I totally understand, I'll just scoot over, my apologies, and like leave it at that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not unreasonable. Especially if it's a quieter one. Like,
yeah, that's, if it's like a rock show,
That's
just
especially
turn your
bad.
face away, because if, I could see if it was loud everywhere else.
I've had moments where I couldn't just turn my face away. Like when I went to see Boz Scaggs, oldest audience I've ever seen. Just average age of the audience was probably over 80. And this one dude who was directly next to me had his phone brightness jacked up brighter than the sun and kept like texting someone and sending them pictures and whatever. And it was, I couldn't look away from that. It's a dark room. Like, it was just like blinded. And it's like, you can't just ignore that. You can't just turn away from that.
Yeah, but it sounds like they were like maybe a seat or two away from each
No,
other.
they were directly next to each other. But there were empty seats like on this woman's
yeah.
other side.
Well, I could also see if it was like I'm saying, if the only thing that's bothering you is that she's knitting very loudly, which is a weird statement.
Well, it was also the peripheral vision of it, and just like it's pulling
Right.
this person's attention away from the show that they paid to see.
Right, but I'm saying like, you can easily, yeah, it's in your periphery, but just turn your head. Like, there are ways to like kind of try and like
They were
finagle.
trying. They tried.
They
said
said
that they tried.
Oh yeah.
They said they were struggling for like a good 30 minutes.
Well, I thought it was just the sound that was bothering her, and I'm like,
it's the whole shebang.
if it's the whole shebang, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, lady, take your fucking knitting home, all right?
Yeah.
Don't be a
Or
dick.
like put it away when the person's on stage.
Yeah, and
It's
don't
weird.
be a dramatic white woman for knitting at a fucking concert.
And like if you have ADHD and you need to like stem or something, just like
Yeah.
this person had the opportunity to like just scoot over a little bit, and that would be totally fine.
My turn.
Okay.
Alright, so, am I the asshole for refusing to pay my roommate's medical bills after she fell off my raised garden bed? So, hang on.
Roommate stuff is always really sticky.
We do have some updates, so let me filter through this real quick. So, I, 21 female, live in a house with 4 other girls. First of all, traumatizing. This spring in May, I found some of those thick security glass blocks on Facebook Marketplace and used them to form a raised garden bed in the backyard, which is pretty cool. Fast forward to July, new girls are moving into the unit below us. We live in a duplex. According to one of my roommates, we will call her Jane, 20 female, when the landlord came to check up on the property around the time of the new girls' move-in, the landlord told Jane that the garden bed I made should be taken down, and she gave Jane a verbal warning. As of right now, I don't know if there were any other witnesses to that interaction, but I do know that I did not receive an email warning about the garden bed. We did not get a group email or text either about it. So when
First of all, who the fuck has a problem with having a garden? Fuck off.
well, it's like
Landlords shouldn't exist.
a raised like a raised wooden box, basically.
I used to have one.
Well, yeah, but sometimes, like, if it's in the backyard, it could take up more space than they allow or whatever. I don't fucking know.
We also don't know how big it is.
Yeah.
Also, it's a fucking garden.
I know. Chill out.
Like, who the hell gets that worked up about a garden?
You forget we're on Am I the Asshole. People are going to be fucked up.
You forget we're talking about a landlord.
Yeah. So back to the story. So when Jane told me the landlord says you can't have that garden bed and gave us a warning, I'm like, oh, that's dumb. If we get a fine, I'll take care of it. But until the landlord gives us a written warning or a fine, I'm leaving it up. That's something that I would do. Me and Jane agreed that it's dumb that I supposedly can't have it. Fast forward to September, while I'm out of town, Jane hosts a party. During the party, Jane, drunk, not sure if that affects the legality of this, stands on the garden bed, falls off, and gets a cut on her leg. She goes to the ER and gets stitches. In the following week, she tells me how much it got in the way during the crowded backyard party, and it was a hazard. And I mean, yes,
Well, she's the one that doesn't know the capacity of her own backyard and inviting way more people. And also, she was drunk.
Yeah. Having that is just... And I mean, yes, having something that is just over ankle height on the ground with a bunch of drunk 20-year-olds are dancing around, it is bound to cause some falls. But how could I have considered that scenario before I made my herb garden? Her insurance is not covering the cost of her ER visit, and now that she's gotten the medical bills, her parents want me to pay for it since it was my garden bed.
It's not her parents' thing to sort out. That's between her and the roommate.
Right. We have an edit. I want to add that I learned her parents want me to pay via another roommate that Jane confided in. Jane nor her parents have actually come to me personally asking for money yet. Other roommate told me to warn me. Continuing, one might say I should pay her bills because, one, I didn't ask everyone in the house if they were okay with me having the garden bed, and why would I? I live there and the thing is 3 feet wide. Sorry, I wasn't...
Okay, so it's not huge.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't considering how it would interfere with the parties we're not supposed to have. And two, because I didn't take it down after we got the warning, which there's no written proof of.
Yeah.
And I read the lease today and I didn't find anything suggesting I couldn't have a garden bed. We literally have a fire pit, which is against the lease. We use it all the time. If one of us were drunk and fell in the fire pit, would there be the same attitude? Or if Jane fell onto another object that was mine, am I at fault just because that object belongs to me? At the end of the day, she was drunk, illegal since she is 20, hosting a party in our yard against the lease, and got hurt falling off of something that, as far as I can tell, and lack of proof saying otherwise, I am allowed to have. Am I wrong for not removing it as soon as Jane expressed that it was a hazard? Am I wrong for planning on saying no if she asked for money? Am I wrong for not removing it after this verbal warning from the landlord that I wasn't present for and don't have proof of?
I have so many opinions on this, oh my god. I'm gonna burst.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, this person should not have been drunk. I get that, like, you know, people get excited about drinking early and they do stupid shit, but, like, if the backyard is fucking crowded, you know how big your backyard is. Like, keep it to a level that you can handle. And second of all, this person did not force the alcohol down your throat. You're the reason that you're drunk. And you were drunk, and that's why you fell. You tripped, you weren't looking. You knew the object was there. You were the one that invited a shitload of people. And if it was so crowded that you couldn't move and you took one step back and boom, you were on the floor, don't invite that many people. That is entirely the roommate's fault. It sucks having medical bills that insurance doesn't cover. But this is a case of when people get upset, they tend to blame other people. And it's like, listen, you tripped and fell because of your own actions. The person that is the entire reason why that thing exists is not responsible for it. You knew it was there, you didn't have a problem with it before. You know? Take responsibility. Your turn.
I kind of have a little bit of, like, yes, the same, like, it's not this girl's fault that she had that this girl has a garden bed in the backyard that's not harming seemingly anybody. However, I have been drunk many a few times and I've tripped over a blade of fucking grass, okay?
And it's because you're drunk.
Whether there's a potato chip on the floor or a garden bed, somebody's gonna trip over it. But also, yeah, you had a party you weren't supposed to, it's against the lease, you're underage, but I also know that sometimes you can't control how many people are invited to a party. People just show up.
I get that, but ultimately that's not a reason why.
Yeah, it's still not this girl's fault who has a garden bed, but, you know, if there's too many people, it's hard to manage and be like, yo, get out. And if you can't call the cops to come handle that because you're all underage or all going to jail.
Maybe you shouldn't be doing that in the first place.
Exactly. Be smart if you're going to party.
Can you tell what kind of person I was growing up?
But ideally, like, it depends, I guess, for me, where the garden bed is situated. Is it off to the side? Is it in the middle? Is it nearby the fire pit? Like, if it's on the side, like, out of the way and the most of it is open, then okay, like, what the hell were you doing over there? But if this girl put it in the middle of the fucking backyard, okay, yeah, I'd kind of be pissed about it too.
I feel like any logical human wouldn't do that, but...
you never know.
We also don't have the context. What are the updates?
So it said edit. Okay, justice for Jane. A lot of the comments are making Jane sound dumb or evil for wanting the garden bed removed. She is not dumb or evil. But we do have a resolution. Just talked with Jane in person and it went well. First, she informed me that her parents ended up paying the bill themselves. She said she was just in a shitty mood yesterday while she was venting to third friend, the other roommate.
Yeah.
I asked when did landlord give the warning that it should be removed, and she said a few days ago when my insurance people came to look at the yard. I asked, did landlord give any warning over the summer about it? She said, I don't know. Now I and the rest of my roommates specifically remember her saying landlord told her to remove it in July. So maybe she did lie about it back then. Either way, she told me today that she was just being dumb and drunk. I asked if we can call this resolved now, and she said yes, and we shook hands.
Yay.
So I'm very happy for
this. This is why you communicate with people. Like, it's fine to vent, but ultimately I'm glad she realized that it was just a dumb, stupid thing. And that's how these things should be resolved.
Yeah.
Like, fucking talk to each other.
I think it's good to go ahead and, like, it didn't sound like she was being nasty to her. Like, do you remember when the landlord said it? Like, okay, I'll take care of it if it's in writing. Like, pretty standard about how I was just saying it. Like, oh, okay, it's regular, it's fine. Like, I'll fix it. It's not a huge deal. But it's also different if, like, there was some conflict. But
it ended with healthy communication. I'm all for it.
Just a little bit of, hey, do you remember when this happened? That'd be great if you could tell me. But.
And hindsight helps. Ooh, I see the title of this one and it's already kind of loaded. Oh, yes. Ugh. Am I the asshole for not letting a service dog into my party?
Yes.
You sound like it. I, 29 male, hosted a pumpkin carving party for my friends, and this past weekend... Whoa. Okay, this... Listen, when you don't edit your text posts, it's gonna trip up people. So let me start again, but correcting the errors that this person should have edited.
Correct them in your head.
I, 29 male, hosted a pumpkin carving party for my friends this past weekend, and a decision I made is causing drama amongst us. The party was outdoors, as it's still nearly 100 during the day where I'm at. Where the fuck are you? I dislike cats and dogs, any and all. Grow up. My friends know this. Primarily, I think they're filthy. I want nothing to do with them because of that.
You're filthy.
A buddy and his current fling, early relationship girlfriend, however you want to define it, showed up. She has a golden retriever with her. I did not know this dog was coming. No one ran this by me, I would have said no. I pulled him aside and told him the dog had to go. He says if the dog has to go, she has to go, then I have to go too.
Yeah.
I say, just come on, man. You should have known better to bring a dog to my house. He said that's a service animal, apparently for diabetes. That's very important. Mm-hmm. He thought it would be different. I said, no, it might medically help her, but it's still a fucking animal. What a jackass.
Yeah.
He starts arguing, but I maintain my stance. I offered to keep it in the garage with the AC on. It. Not him or her. It. He goes and talks to his girl, and she looks annoyed. I felt bad about that. They opt to leave. He lets me know I'm an asshole. Yes, you are. My friends were all split on how I handled it. Am I the asshole? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Here, I'll take that for you. Because you're like balancing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you are the asshole, sir. First of all, golden retriever dogs, fucking
Perfect, wonderful angels.
Yeah, nothing could go wrong with them. They might steal a sock. That's it.
But they would feel bad about it.
There are certain animals that I don't prefer either. Like snakes. If there's a snake in somebody's house, I'm not going in that house. If someone has a snake and I'm dating them, it's either me or the snake. You gotta pick. Because I'm not dealing with it. But that's like an exotic animal. If it's a dog, a cat, a bird, a regular pet, a guinea pig, sure, fine. Okay, whatever. I don't prefer small dogs. I hate them. I'm scared of them. They freak me out. They're always weird looking. I don't know why.
They're just loud and annoying.
Their faces are all weird looking, and you can't tell me their eyes don't match their face. So
What about pugs?
they freak me out
Pugs are
too.
wonderful. What about Frenchies?
They freak me out too.
Oh my god.
Like
How could you? Justice for small dogs.
Justice for
You like
small dogs.
corgis?
Yes, corgis are great because their eyes match their face. The rest of them don't. But for the most part, like, I'm partial to big dogs. I grew up with big dogs. They're better snugglers. They're better dogs for me. I will gladly.
They're sweeties. I don't like yappy ones.
Yeah, I'd rather be snuggling a big Newfoundland dog than like a Chihuahua. And I know that's a drastic thing, but I prefer bigger dogs over smaller dogs just for preference. All dogs are great dogs. Don't get me wrong on that. Same with cats. But if it's a service animal that's legally allowed to be in almost any fucking store or place of business, and it's not allowed in your house, then you're a shitty person because this person could die on your watch, and by not having her service animal...
Literally die.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's almost like asking, hey, can you leave your, like, arm outside my door because I just don't like your nail polish? Like, are you that dumb? Or just be like, hey, I'm afraid of dogs, like, you can come in, but, like,
This
just
person
don't...
isn't even afraid. They just don't like them because they're a jackass.
Well,
Not even allergic or anything.
Yeah, or like, hey, if you're gonna bring the dog in, like, I'll go outside and then we can swap. Like, there's plenty of things that you could have done to, like, swap sides on it, you know?
If they were allergic, they would have like a snowball's chance in hell of being like,
Yeah.
maybe not the asshole, but are you good with yours? Can I?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, the fact that this is tagged as everyone sucks here, I have an issue with that.
Yes.
Because if I knew that someone in my life was an animal hater, number one, I wouldn't be friends with them, but number two, I would warn them in advance if I was hanging out with someone that had a service animal. Mm-hmm. So, like, I understand the feeling of, like, oh, he probably should have mentioned that, but that pales in comparison to this person being just a total jackass and putting this person's life at risk for trying to kick out the dog.
I agree.
It's not even a legitimate reason. Like, just disliking something is not a reason to kick out a medically necessary animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like if you had an allergy, that's another medical necessity. That's a similar level of importance. But no, this guy just doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Not even a fear. Also, it's car alarm. It's also giving fake post vibes. Like, it feels like someone posted it just
like
for rage bait. There's a lot of red flags in the way that he words it, because
like drama.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, and I want to let it be known that I have some awareness that fake posts exist, but
Very true.
I'm taking this at face value and just, like, leaving the door open like it might be fake, but if not, you're a huge fucking douchebag.
Absolutely. Okay. Am I the asshole for asking my husband to not come to my prenatal appointment?
Boundaries exist, and you're not wrong for enforcing them.
Okay. Alright. Prior to my 4th prenatal appointment, my husband and I got into a fight. The fight occurred while I was describing a situation at work and got frustrated and emotional while explaining myself. My husband was questioning and challenging my interpretation of it, and I felt he was being argumentative, so I said, You wouldn't understand. You don't have to work with gossips and judgmental people. That's a spicy comment.
Oh, yeah.
He works from home and has limited in-person interaction with other people for his job. I started crying out of frustration and he got angry and said I was blowing up over nothing. He then went silent and didn't speak to me the rest of the day. His conflict management style is the silent treatment, often for days, sometimes for 1 to 2 weeks at a time. Anticipating this, I told him that if we were not on speaking terms at the time of my prenatal appointment, that I do not feel comfortable with him coming and that I would get an ultrasound images and provide a summary of the appointment for him. That's totally valid.
It's one appointment. He can survive.
Yeah. I told this to him in words and by text. Well, he showed up to my prenatal appointment and forced himself in. I was too humiliated to make a scene, but quietly said, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Afterwards, he said, "It's our baby, so it's our appointment." And I said, "Actually..."
It's her body, it's her appointment.
She said, "Actually, I am the patient and it's my appointment and you are there as a visitor." I told him I felt violated and betrayed. Truly, I feel bullied by his behavior and would like an apology. I wanted him to be there and he has come to most of my other appointments, but I don't feel comfortable with him being there.
Most! Not even all!
Well, it could be
Look
like...
at that!
It could be that, like, you know, he had to work or something like that at the time of our appointment.
But interesting how he can survive without making it to every single appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Sorry.
It's okay. I wanted him to be there as he has come to most of my other appointments, but I didn't feel comfortable with him being there if he was engaging in the silent treatment and aggression. He maintains that he has every right to be at my doctor's appointments whether I'm okay with it or not. Editing. To add a big thank you to everyone who has commented and shared their story of any similar experiences, positive or negative. I didn't expect the volume and polarity of responses this post has received. I'm reading through every comment and taking your thoughts to heart. Thank you. Second edit. I'm overwhelmed with the number of comments. I thought this post would fly under the radar to respond to some questions, clarifications, and provide updates. Alright, so we got 4 bullet points.
Okay, can I give my assessment before we do the update? Or are those clarifications?
I think these are clarifications.
Okay. I'll hold my tongue.
My husband asked to speak with me this evening and we had a calm and productive talk. This is a quick turnaround time for him. He clarified that he did overreact and blow up over my crying due to him misunderstanding something that I said and that he did think my being upset about work was valid. Number 2. I did not anticipate the amount of responses regarding my mention of the silent treatment. I now wish I didn't mention it in this particular post, though appreciate all of your advice, especially the heartfelt and enlightening responses from those of you who have suffered under a parent or partner, and those of you who use or have used the silent treatment yourselves. There have been a handful of instances of the silent treatment that were 1 to 3 weeks long. What the fuck?
Not healthy.
Most other instances were a few days. I know the silent treatment was wrong. It makes me feel terrible, and I know it can be abusive when used to manipulate or punish. I don't recall him using the silent treatment like that until last year, so this oddly wasn't an issue earlier in our relationship, even though he describes it as a long-term behavior for him that was normal growing up in his family. I spoke tonight about how damaging it was and my fear of him doing this again in front of or to our kid. He agreed it was unacceptable and has to change. Also, I have some conflict responses of my own that I'd like to work on. Number 3. My husband does individual therapy and has for some time. I do not currently plan on doing couples therapy again, as I did not find it very productive, rather sometimes counterproductive. We will both continue individual therapy. Number 4. For those asking why I did have a baby with this man, I have provided one glimpse into our relationship, and though it is an ugly one, it is just a glimpse. I'm happy, not miserable, majority of the time. I think my am I the asshole question of the prenatal appointment is debatable, but agree that the silent treatment is awful and unacceptable behavior, even if it's not done maliciously. I'm pregnant now with a very wanted baby and will have to work very hard on ensuring a loving and safe and healthy environment is provided, no matter what that requires of myself or my husband.
Okay, so those were actually updates, but it's fine.
Yeah, they kind of they do give some clarification though, so go ahead.
But, okay, he was definitely the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, your wife is pregnant, you're talking about a situation that's already upsetting and already emotional to her. Maybe don't be a dick about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if a pregnant woman is like stressed enough to like a huge level, it could cause her to miscarry and they want the baby. So
Absolutely.
yeah, don't push that, but also just don't upset her. Like, there's a way to be kind about it and just be like, I understand your perspective. Could this maybe have been the situation instead and you just didn't realize it? Like, that's communication.
Right.
Not, oh, you're probably wrong. And yeah, the hormones are absolutely raging and emotions will be 100 times what they normally are, and you should know that because it's like a huge stereotype anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, if you're at the doctor's and you don't want someone to be there, let them know and they can enforce that. This person does not have a right to be there. It's a privilege. Until he gets a uterus of his own and grows a damn baby, then he can talk. But it's not his uterus that the baby's living in, so
I agree.
that's my 2 cents. But I'm very glad that they had a good conversation about that. That shows that he's not a lost cause.
Exactly. From being in a relationship that the silent treatment or like the cold shoulder was used very often on me, it is very stressful where you want to talk to your partner, you want things to be normal, and having that, prolonged toxicity or tension isn't really not good for either party. So I really don't like that part. However, it is a privilege to be at those appointments. It's a luxury basically. She technically is the patient, the baby is the patient. She has every right to say, hey, I want this person in the room with me, whether it just be a regular gyno checkup or a prenatal appointment or whatever. She has every right to say who should be there and who should not be there. But I agree that communication is great. Please continue therapy, but it's also a little I understand where she's coming from, saying like, I'm very happy in my marriage. Other than this type of thing, it's one little tiny blip in our entire relationship. It's probably the only significantly bad thing she just wanted some advice on, to vent on. So for people saying like, oh, like, break up with him, da-da-da, he's an asshole. It's like, yeah, he is an asshole for that, but at least he clarified and apologized.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like,
Not irredeemable.
Yeah, don't feel like it's the end of the world if, like, every couple is going to have an argument. Every situation is going to have, like, suitably a good opinion or a bad opinion or not come to terms on the same thing. So whether it's any type of relationship. So
yeah,
it's going to happen. People on the internet just think, oh my God, just like run down people's throats. But
yeah.
I agree that, I'm glad that they worked it all out and that the baby is wanted and that they're going to try to make it a loving home for them.
It's important to realize in situations like, am I the asshole evaluations?
Mm-hmm.
Like, most people do pick up like unhealthy coping mechanisms, unhealthy like communication styles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the difference is not between those who have unhealthy communication and those who don't. The difference is those who are willing to accept that this is not the right way to go about it and learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then those who just don't.
Yeah.
Like, if this guy was like completely not like even remorseful at all, like, that would be a different story. But
Absolutely.
he's willing to change. He's in therapy. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent resolution.
Yes.
Communicate with each other, damn it.
Next one. Alright, this next one is for you that I have some opinions on just based on the title.
Oh.
Just to clarify, I have
Sorry.
neither Heather nor I
Telling me.
have read these stories.
We're
So
seeing them for the first time.
yes. Alright, so there you go.
Oh, it's in poo mode. This is a bad one.
In poo.
I think poo mode is the one where they like lock the comments or something.
Oh, probably.
Alright. Am I the asshole for telling my 28 female fiance, 24 male, that he needs to stop ridiculing my degree? No, you are not.
No, you're not.
Hi everybody. I and my fiance will get married next year in the summer, and I'm very much looking forward to this. We have our issues, but then again, what couple doesn't? However, lately he's been ridiculing my studies and the degree I'm studying. I'm studying in the Netherlands and he lives in Denmark, so we will close the distance next year after the wedding.
Why are you talking so goddamn fast?
I don't
You're
know.
like,
Sorry.
like, goddamn, bro.
I think I've been listening to too much Trisha Paytas lately.
Probably. God damn. Take it back a notch.
I'm currently in my last year of the bachelor's degree in biomedical sciences.
Okay, thank you.
That seems like a normal degree.
Yeah.
I would argue, but of course I'm biased, that this is a very intensive study and requires a lot of time and effort. Yeah.
What is it? Computer science?
Biomedical sciences.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So science already, and then like biomedical is like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I complain about this, he says that my degree doesn't matter and that I'd be better off quitting anyway. Ooh, red flags, red flags, red flags. The reason why he says this is because we would like to have a marriage with more traditional gender roles once we're married. So he will earn the money and I will become a stay-at-home mother. Dump his ass.
Activate poo mode.
I don't have a problem with this, but I would like to have a degree to fall back on during tough times, or you could become your own human.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I try to make this argument, he shuts it down immediately and claims I'd be better off just quitting my studies and becoming a housewife already, since once we're married I will never use my degree anyway. I would not, first of all, what if you dump his ass like you absolutely should, which this is going to be coming. Oh god, I lost my place.
Welcome to the world.
I would not mind working like 2 times a week, but he's strongly opposed to this as he claims it would interfere with my tasks and chores in her marriage. How about you be a fucking man and do the fucking chores equally? He's currently still in carpentry school. By the way, I feel like she would be earning more money if she were to have a full-time career in her degree.
It depends.
Carpentry versus biomedical sciences, like
no, you can make some pretty good money in carpentry because that means you like build shit, and everybody wants a house built.
Biomedical sciences, isn't that like medicine and everything, and like studying the human body and stuff like that?
Yeah, but it's not. It's harder to find a job in biomedical sciences than it is in carpentry.
Gotcha.
But it might be around the same pay range. It depends what level carpentry he's at, if he owns his own business, if he works under someone, or if she would like work in a lab or with a big company. But go on.
Which he's currently still in carpentry school, which consists of him having several months of work followed by weeks of school, both of which he gets paid for. Not only does he dismiss the difficulty of my degree, but he also claims that the work he's doing is much harder. I can't disagree with him because physically speaking it is definitely much more intensive, but I would like for him to acknowledge that my degree is also time-consuming and difficult. Mm-hmm. Any degree is. Recently he made a joke about what a waste of time it is me getting my degree when I should be in DK, I think that's Denmark, and making him dinner instead, since that would be more fulfilling for both him and me. For him. I know I should not let these harmless jokes get under my skin, but I lashed out at him and told him that he needed to stop ridiculing my academic achievements and dismissing all of it so easily, since it might come in handy at some point in the future. He then quite seriously told me again that I should not take everything so personally and that he was speaking the truth, since I will not use my degree once we are married, so it is a waste of time and money. Then somehow he spun around and told me that I was not appreciative enough of him wanting to provide for me and our future family, and that if I wanted to be a girl boss, I would be free to do so on my own. What an insult! I need an update. We need to dig into this person's post history and see how it ended.
I'll let you go first because I got some thoughts.
Oh, thank you. This dude's a walking red flag. You should dump him. First of all, we don't know how long these two have been together, so it could be completely legit.
Did they say that they had kids?
No, just that they're engaged.
Okay.
But this lady is 20 years old. Her fiance is 4 years older than her.
Mm-hmm.
When you're late teens, early 20s, you're not very mature. I'm 24 now, and I'm a completely different human than I was 4 years ago.
You're a completely different human
Yeah.
from like 6-8 months ago.
Yeah. We don't know how long they've been together. They could have been together since this person was 18, and that would be completely legal, but again, the age gap is more significant the younger you are.
Right.
Like, if this was like a 40-year-old and a 34-year-old, it wouldn't matter. But
I think it still would matter. Regardless of age, I think it still matters.
well, it would be less significant in terms of like brain development and everything.
Yeah.
'Cause you're still developing as a person at 20.
Absolutely.
But-
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dump his ass. There's so many red flags. I'll let you go off.
Okay. How much time do we have left on the timer?
3.5 minutes, but we can always restart and you can continue.
Okay.
Also,
all right.
we need to dig into this person's
I'll do my
post history to
best.
see if there's any updates.
I'll do my best. Okay. So let me tell you. Let me just shut this for a second.
Ooh, I'm sure you've had personal
Okay,
experience.
so I was in a relationship very kind of similar to this, where he would not let me. So I Uber on the side outside of my full-time job.
This is gonna get juicy.
Yeah. So when I met him, I was Ubering for forever and a day. It felt like, and it was how like I had extra grocery money. It was like towards the end of 2020 that I had met him. And
She lives alone. She needs to support herself.
yeah,
It's
I
very
live on my
important.
own. You know, I had just moved out in my first apartment February of 2020, started Ubering in June of 2020, met him in November of 2020. So we finally started dating May of 2021. And shortly after that, he was like, well, I don't want you Ubering anymore because there's guys in your car. And if you're just doing it for the money, like, just let me know how much you need and I'll do it. So I was like, okay, well, fine. But in that capacity...
Knowing what he did for a living, like, are you really gonna have that much extra cash hanging around?
Exactly. So he also made less than me at his full-time job than I did at my job. But my expenses were way higher. So I'm like, well, unless you're willing to, you know, like, help out here, then yeah, like, I have to do this. And it was very frustrating and debilitating because he also said pretty much the identical type of things, like, oh, you know, you could just be a stay-at-home mom, like, you know, you don't have to work, why would you want to go to the office, like, you know, if you're gonna go there, you're probably just gonna cheat on me. So it was more of that realm, but the same concept was there.
That was the most disgusting.
Yeah, so...
This guy was a toxic shit.
Yeah, so this brought back a lot of flashbacks, so it's like, okay, if your significant other is telling you not to do something that you're currently pursuing or doing, reevaluate your relationship with that person. I don't know how long they've been together. Like you said, they're pretty young, in their early 20s. Don't halt your career just for somebody else, because that was also a decision that I had to make for myself, where I knew in my previous relationship, he basically said, if you have to go into the office for a job, it's either me or that job. And I always chose the job, because people can come and go in your life, but you need to figure out how to support yourself. So you are not the asshole, OP. Your boyfriend is an asshole. And some traditional gender roles are fine. Like, you know, if the guy wants to take care of, like, the outside of the house stuff, like mow the lawn, fix the car, cut the grass, whatever, all that type of shit, fine, dandy. But there still also should be that, it's okay to have some traditional gender role norms, but when it comes to being in a relationship, I don't know if they're living together, it sounds like they are, you should be splitting things accurately. Like, it shouldn't be, oh, I'm a woman, so I just do the laundry, and I just do the dishes, and I just do this, and I just do that. because then he's only going to do the outside stuff that only needs to be done maybe once a week, not the stuff that needs to be done every day. So if you, let's say there's a sink full of dishes. Let's say everything else is done inside and outside of the house. The dishes are piling up. Who is more apt to do them? The woman is. Is the guy gonna put an empty cup in the sink? Abso-fucking-lutely they will. Because they're just sometimes dum-dums. But it should be, oh, the sink is full. I should probably do the dishes because I need a spoon to eat my cereal with. Instead of being like, oh, well, I'll just wash one spoon in one bowl and then she'll just do it later on.
That's like a me thing to do, unfortunately.
But I've gotten in arguments with my ex about this, about traditional gender roles, and there was one specific time where, like, I would cook all the time for us, and it would be like steak or pork chops or something where it's like a meat, where I take it out of the pan, and instead of dirtying 3 plates, I'll dirty 2. So I'll just put one on one plate, one on the other plate, especially if it's steak, so I know which steak is mine, which steak is his, instead of just putting them all on one plate and then taking it for just one of us. So I guess one time I made something that wasn't like that, where it was like a help yourself, like spaghetti or something type of, like, put however much on your plate you want. There was no specification of like, oh, this one's mine, this one's yours, it doesn't matter. And he was like, oh, so you're not gonna make my plate for me?
What a bitch ass baby.
Yeah, and I'm like, you have 2 arms.
Grow the fuck up.
2 arms.
You're an adult. A
Yeah.
grown adult man.
You have 2 arms, you have 2 legs, you're more than fucking capable of making your own plate. I don't know how much you want. You make your own plate. And he's like, well, if I don't eat it, I'll just, I don't eat it. And I'm like, well, yeah, then it's gonna go in the fucking trash and not in the fucking leftovers bin, because you already touched it. So I do not, personally me, I don't conform to gender norms in terms of that.
Because nobody has to anyway.
Right. At one point in my life, I did want to be a stay-at-home mom, and now that it's like, it's different if you want that.
Yeah.
If you want that and you are okay with that, even just for, hey, can I just be a stay-at-home mom for like, till the kids go to kindergarten, then I'll go back to work. Okay, that's completely fucking different. But when he's like, absolutely not, you're not going to work, like, you don't even, like, your degree means nothing, that's completely belittling. You need to get out ASAP.
I got more thoughts. I remember when, I can't remember if it was before or after you dumped him, but it was around that time where we spent the day together doing like Christmas shopping.
That was like
whatever.
2 days before
Oh,
I broke up with him. This was the catalyst, yeah.
And I was craving some Alfredo. We were gonna have dinner, so I literally, all I did was cook a box of pasta.
She literally boiled
slapped some
noodles
Alfredo sauce
and dumped the sauce in there. And I was like, oh my god, you're cooking for me? Oh my god.
And it was like the simplest thing, but it was like a gesture that she was like totally deprived of in her relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just having someone like cook for you when you're constantly cooking for other people, it's like, it wasn't even. Like, I do love to cook, but when you live alone, you're constantly cooking for yourself, and then when your partner comes over, you're constantly cooking for both of you. So it's like, that is kind of always been my responsibility in a way, and it's like, if he cooks, he would cook like Spam or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not cooking.
Exactly. So it's like, meanwhile, that day that she's talking about, we were driving around Christmas shopping from
It was
like
a very busy
10 in the morning until probably 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Hardly 8, and it was blizzarding outside.
Yeah.
We went to like 15
Welcome
different
to
fucking
Buffalo.
stores. 15 different stores out all fucking day driving. So the nerve that he had when I told him that she was spending the night, and he was like, oh, you just don't want me there. And I'm like, no, it's fucking
her own
blizzarding
goddamn
outside.
sister.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna make her drive 40 minutes back home in the middle of the freaking night when it's blizzarding.
I don't live very close to her.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, what the hell? And after that point, when she was cooking, just like, the thought of her just like cooking for me was great. And then I was like, oh yeah, and he does this, and he does that, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I was just like, wow.
Got the ball rolling.
I don't don't even think I should be with this person anymore
I'm
because
so
of that.
proud that I was the catalyst. There were so many crazy things that he would do.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Yeah.
blanket statement, I really feel like guys use the traditional gender role thing as like
It's an excuse.
shorthand for I don't want to have to do chores. Which that's really what they'll be like, oh, you can take care of the kids and the chores and I'll make the money. And it's like, it's very controlling, but it's also like lazy.
Yeah.
Because like humans in this society have to work to survive. And like suck it up. You also have to be able to maintain yourself at home.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's a skill that you need to have. You need to have enough maturity to like step up when something needs to be done.
Right.
Like if there's certain chores that for whatever reason you absolutely fucking hate doing, like tell your spouse that and figure out like,
yeah, absolutely.
okay, you can do this all the time, but in turn I'll do this consistently.
Exactly.
Like delegate it.
Yeah,
Just
I
have
hate
a fucking lick of maturity.
I hate cleaning my bathroom. I love cleaning. Every part else of my house is pretty much spotless. I love cleaning, except my bathroom. That is
the chemicals are more intense in bathroom cleaning.
I feel like I don't do a good enough job for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like I don't complete the task at all when I even try. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So if I were to be like, hey, I'll clean the rest of the house. If you just clean the tub for me, I'll clean everything else. That's a fair thing for me because I just hate doing it.
Yeah.
But for them, if they're like, hey, I really hate, tidying up or some other chore, I'd be like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like something else that they just don't feel like they're confident in cleaning or whatever, fine. But I feel like there's also, those are basic necessities to be able to live. You need to learn how to cook for yourself. You need to learn how to take care of your home. You need to learn how to, if you do have kids or want kids, be able to, make sure that they're fed in any way, shape, or form. Just handle life as an adult. You need to have those skills. And I feel like sometimes with men, they're babied from when they're younger to about 18. When they're 18, they go off to college maybe. They get their first apartment with like 6 other guys. The house is a goddamn mess. They don't clean anything. It's disgusting. And then they hopefully find a girlfriend, make her, their wife or whatever. And then she takes over those kind of quote unquote responsibilities that his mom was doing.
There's more.
There's more? Oh,
this person, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead and reach.
We might need to restart.
Okay.
Because this is going to dig in.
But I'll finish my tangent and then you can
I noticed that this person has negative comment karma, which on Reddit is not a good thing.
What does that mean?
Well, karma is like when people like your stuff and like, so this person is very disliked. The post that made me go, oh shit, there's more, is titled, "My fiance doesn't like me being friends with guys."
I also had this very exact scenario. Are we Eskimo sisters or something? Like, what the fuck?
This is a much shorter post, but essentially it's like,
before
like
you read
with
it,
your ex, like assuming that she's just gonna sleep with any male friends.
Go ahead and restart and then we'll read it.
Okay. This one's a removed post, but we still have a title of it. Am I the asshole for asking my fiance to stop licking my face and respect my other boundaries?
No.
And apparently they have a safe word.
A safe word? What the fuck? For licking your face?
I don't know. I'm just looking at like because there's like a comment that they posted to clarify.
Oh. Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe, I think that post was probably referring to like sexual boundaries or something. Like maybe he was just a weirdo like licking her face during sex, which is also very weird. Please don't do that.
respect your partner's boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a post in Ask Men titled, "How do you really feel about female friends?" And yeah, it's removed too. Okay. And then here's what we were talking about earlier. The one about the fiance does not like them being friends with guys. And
Was the Friends with Guys the last one before the one that we just read?
Ooh, here's a comment that someone commented to this person that's really juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Grooming, the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. You are being trained. Care to explain how you aren't? You're on the internet asking people if it's alright to stop your partner from having friends.
Yeah.
You seem on the fence about it. If there was only a way to get some practical experience and find out if in fact having a male friend means you will slip and fall on his penis the moment you are alone with him. Notice how you are a passive agent in your scenarios, that you have no choice in what happens when a guy is around you. Does that bother you at all? How many times have you fallen on your good friend's penis over the 7 years you've known him? Anyways,
okay, wait, pause.
It's a long comment.
Wait, so, okay, as Olivia Benson would say, there was this one scene in Law & Order SVU, an older one, where these two guys were, like, obviously SVUing this one girl, and he was like, I was just trying to help her up, and Olivia was like, with your penis? So, okay, yeah. I just think that's so fucking hilarious, sorry. Tangent, side note, probably no one will get that, but if you get it, you get it. Go for it.
Are you really sitting here like, no one will get this when you're talking about Law & Order?
It's an older, very specific scene in an episode.
You can't pull that card with me around.
Do you remember that scene?
I don't watch Law & Order. But that's a popular show. I'm the queen of being into stuff that nobody gives a fuck about. So,
well, proceed.
Anyways, you ain't looking for advice. I like this from one of your repliers, though. Yes, when someone selects a too young and naive partner, the intention is usually to isolate them so that as they grow up, they won't have a robust emotional support network to serve as an escape route when they tire of the controlling relationship. Any friends you have will become a threat to this guy because if you have other people who can help you flee, that's always going to be a problem for him. This is called coercive control, and it's in all the textbooks on the psychology of domestic abuse. And then the person's reply was, I'm not looking for advice. I just hadn't looked into grooming in such perspective.
Okay, I got some thoughts on that now. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me wipe my hands and get serious real quick.
Do you want to dig into the comments of this post?
Girl, we don't need the comments on this one because, okay, I had that very same...
We have a little bit of context.
Okay.
They met when she was 19, so they've only been together for a year, and they're already engaged.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Also, my relationship that I was speaking on prior to this, when I first gave my thoughts, same guy, same relationship, this is exactly true, and it's also a form of, like, manipulation and coercion. It's not just specifically domestic abuse, it can be anything related to any type of control. So, the reason why he didn't want me to go to the office or Uber or basically be outside my fucking house was because other guys were in the world existing. And he thought that any other guy, I would be just, so happened to just choke on their dick. And I'm like, dude, no, that's not how this works. And there was also a scenario where one of my friends had, she had an SA experience, a very serious one. She's okay now, but it happened when she was with friends that are not me or my two other best friends. These are friends that I don't know who they are, and something had happened, and she was telling me about it, and I was on the phone with her when he was calling me, so I was like, hey, I'll call you back, I'll fill you in a minute. So I was kind of saying, hey, like, I was dealing with my friend, she had a scenario happen, I was just trying to calm her down and, like, give her some advice. And kind of very briefly in the long of short of things said what had happened. And he was like, well, why do you still want to be friends with her? And I'm like, because she's my friend. What the fuck? Like, hello? And that friend at the time was the only single friend that I had. So she did want to go out and stuff like that, which is fine. But since I was in a relationship, we didn't really hang out as much. But he pretty much blew that friendship up between me and this person who I'm no longer friends with now. So that kills me to this day that I pretty much let a relationship get in ahead of a friend that I've known since like middle school, high school. She wasn't like a best friend. She was more of like a really, really close friend.
But that's still very close.
Exactly. My two besties are here. Like, they're fine. But just the fact that that had happened and the things that he was saying about her was like, anytime I would go to like a restaurant that coincidentally also has a bar in it, like Applebee's, Chili's, or something of that nature, where it's primarily a restaurant, you go there to sit down and have a meal, but you can also go sit at the bar and have a drink if you'd like. Those were equivalent to like going to a nightclub for him.
Oh my god.
So
fucking idiot.
this also like came into play when he was like, what she was going through, like, oh, like, you know, having male best friends or male friends. Okay, yeah, those friends should respect you in a friend manner, knowing that you're in a relationship, and set that boundary. Whereas, okay, yeah, some guy friends don't do that, but they should if they're actually real friends. But I can't necessarily clock her fiance for saying, hey, like, I don't trust them, because I'm sure he's been in the exact same shoes and knows exactly what their intentions are.
We got a little more tea.
But it's hard for me to say, like, you shouldn't have friends of the opposite sex if you're in a relationship. But now being gay, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. As long as, like, they're not cheating on you, that's fine.
Think about it this way. How many times have you come across people who are the gender that you are generally sexually attracted to, mm-hmm. and thought, I'm not attracted to that person in any way, shape, or form? That's normally how it goes.
Yeah, or like if this girl and her friends that are guys have been friends since, I don't know, fucking preschool, and nothing has ever happened throughout middle school, high school, you know, some college, then what's the fucking harm?
Like, just because I'm straight doesn't mean I want every fucking penis on the planet. Like, no.
Exactly. So
also, before we wrap this one up really quick, I just paused my timer with my foot.
Okay, go for it.
There's just a couple of fun comments.
Shoot.
So, this one person commented, is this fake? They have a long-distance relationship, but a couple months ago he was licking her face. Which just made me laugh. And then another commenter said, he's encouraging you to drop out and go live with him now so you can make his meals for him. Are you sure he's actually Catholic, or does he just like the amount of control the religion gives him over you? This person needs tough love. I really, really hope they break up. But the post that we read initially is the most recent post from this person. It's only a week old. There's no updates, which is making me really, really sad, but I hope the next update is that she's single now.
I hope so too. Please, if listeners of any gender or
if
person,
any of these sound familiar to you,
if you can relate very heavily to any experience that I've stated for myself or this person, please just reevaluate, talk to somebody, even if it's just someone on the internet, call, you know, your therapist, get into therapy, do something to try to assess the situation. Like, yeah, Reddit isn't necessarily the best place, but it is a stepping stone. You could also post a Reddit thread too. You could just reach out and be like, hey, is this normal? Because, like, I don't know, I'm feeling kind of weird about this. Mm-hmm. Just don't be afraid to, like, second guess it, and, like, obviously don't tell your partner that you're second guessing, but you have to know, like,
evaluate
if it
the
feels
situation.
yucky or not.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
I think that's a good way to end this.
Absolutely.
As a very, very important lesson.
Yes. So we hope you had fun and learned a lot.
No, we did.
And
got a little heated.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just kind of how I am. I don't take bullshit lightly. I really don't. It bothers me so deeply.
Yes. Well, we will see you in the next episode. Have a great night, and more to come. Bye.